Everyone, so I have another Torchwood book to talk about today, and this is my third Torchwood book review, and this is the one that I really wanted to get hold of. Why? Because Eve is on the front. I absolutely adore Eve Miles, I adore Gwen, and obviously the central character in each book is the one that's on the front, so I wanted to get hold of this. Now if you've seen my other reviews, you'll know that the other two copies were library copies. This is not. I bought this online for like £3, which was a bargain. And this one is Slow Decay. You can see that there by Andy Lane. And with each Torchwood book I read, it keeps getting better and better. And this is my new christened favourite book. It's about, there's two sort of things going on. First of all, it starts off with a dead weevil. Obviously weevils are really quite tough creatures and it'll take a lot to kill a weevil. And you have to think, well, hang on. What? Why is a weevil dead? What's killed a weevil? So they start investigating that, and they find other things along the way that might be clues. Some red herrings, some not. I'm obviously not going to tell you which are and which aren't because I'll spoil it. And then the other big thing, which is quite early on, is there's a new doctor in town called Dr. Scotus, and he is giving out these, well, not giving out, you have to pay for them, but these two diet pills. One says start, and one says stop. You take the start pill, you lose weight, and then you take the stop pill when you want to stop losing weight. And Reese, Gwen's boyfriend, does that behind Gwen's back. You know, he wants to lose weight for her, and he takes these pills, and he's not the only one who's doing this to lose weight as well. And then they find more and more about this apparent weight loss and the fact that there are these really thin people going around, and they're not quite right. Again, I'm not going to tell you what's not right about them, because it will spoil it. And you have to try and work out, you know, what exactly is going on. Why are they being like this? Why are they reacting to the pills like this? Is it alien, or is it just, you know, some form of new medicine that makes them a bit twisted? So that is also you've got the two things there, the dead weevil and the diet pills. And you have to sort of try and work out what's going on with the two. There's a lot going on. You have to really think about a lot that's happening. There are a few new characters in there. You have a girl called Miriam and a girl called Lucy. And Miriam doesn't come in until quite later on, but Lucy's in at the beginning, and I never did like her. As a character, I like what she adds to the book, but I don't like what she does to Gwen. Read on to find out more. And it is really, really good. What I find with this is that it really does throw you off track, because you think you're just about to solve the problem in your mind, and then it just forgets that. Like, say it mentions something, and you think, yes, I need to know a little bit more about that, and then that'll be the answer. And then that thing won't be mentioned for another 50 pages. And then you think, oh gosh, I completely forgot about that. With some books that can be annoying when it drops items for quite a while, but with this it's really good because it stops you from solving it too early. And by the time that's mentioned again, something else has been dropped in the book, so there's something else going around your mind. And you've got all this stuff going on, and you're like, well hang on, that I thought was because of that, but now I think it's because of that, and those two aren't connected, so what's going on? And there really is an awful lot to think about, but it's not a really heavy read. You don't have to. I read this in about 3 goes. I think I read about 100 pages and then 50, and then about another 100. There is 240 something pages. And I mean, the writing is quite a nice size. It's not massive, but it's not like teeny tiny. You don't need to strain your eyes to read it. And it's not like a really heavy read in the sense that you need to really think. But if you want to solve the problem, you need to think. It's not hard to understand, providing you know Torchwood and you know the lingo and you know what they're going on about. But if you want to solve the problem along the way, yeah, it will take a bit more concentration. There are some people I know who read sort of mystery stories, detective stories, that type of thing, where they don't like to try and solve the problem because they maybe think it spoils the element of surprise at the end. Because, you know, if you work it out halfway through, the rest of the book is pretty spoiled. But as I said, the beauty with this is even though you think you've worked it out, chances are you haven't, because there'll be something else there to throw you off track. I hadn't read anything by Andy Lane before, so it was quite nice to discover a new author. I will be looking out for more of his work, Torchwood and otherwise. I don't know if he's wrote any more Torchwood books, I'll be honest. But as I said, this is book number 3 out of 15 I think that I've read. I've bought one more, so I will be reading that and doing another review next week, I assume. And then I will be buying more books. If there are any particular ones you want to recommend me to read, like say you've read, I don't know, another one, Border Princes or Another Life, there are 2 sort of brief bits in the back so I have examples of others. If there are any others you want me to read first, let me know and I will buy them ones first. But yeah, it is really quite creepy book. Very engaging, very addictive. I became obsessed with this. Like I said, I read it in no time at all because I have to go and read it. I have to go and read it. It took hold of me completely. And when a book does that, it really is genius. And it is, I mean, it looks really attractive as well. You've got Eve in the cast. Tosh on the side. Yeah, so it is definitely my new favourite Torchwood book. One of my all-time favourite books, I think. Not too long, but not too short. Perfect plot, written really well. As I said in my other Torchwood book reviews, you don't have to be a fan of Torchwood to read it, as long as you like sci-fi and mysteries and things. But it helps if you're a fan of Torchwood, because if you know the lingo and you know what they're talking about, it just means you can relate to it more. The beauty of this is that you can't picture what's going on if you know the characters and you know the locations. When they're inside the hub, when they say Tosh walked over to such and such, you can picture it in your mind, which is really helpful. But again, if you've got a creative enough imagination, you can make it up for yourself, and it's fine. It's still enjoyable. But please feel free to leave comments and things and let me know your thoughts on the book, and as I said, any recommendations for other ones. But that's all I want to say about Slow Decay just now, so I will see you next time. Bye guys!